Welcome to the Breakthrough Podcast with your host, Reba, a podcast motivated to help survivors of trauma heal and focus on their full potential.
Welcome back to another edition of the Breakthrough Podcast. Of course, I am your host, Reba, host. I don't know why I say that every time, but whatever. I am your host, Reba. And I am so excited to be here just to tell you a little bit updates. And I just got off work and it's snowing once again. Now, if you know anything about me, if you know me, I love snow. I absolutely love snow, but not when I'm supposed to be here no more. March is March, and it's like, okay, I'm tired of saying it. We've been getting a lot of snow in Wisconsin. I'm just thankful we have not been getting really, really bad weather like we have, like other states and stuff been getting. Shouts out to the weather in Wisconsin. We've been getting a lot of snow. We have been, but besides that, I'm kind of happy that we're not, getting really, really bad weather. It's been doable. I think the kids was out of school the most this winter twice for school. Besides that, we've been good. We are listening. We are here on YouTube and Riverside and Spotify and Apple. So if you're listening, please like, share, and subscribe. 5-star it, rate it, please. So it can get out and our listeners, we can get more listeners. Okay. So with that being said, we'll just get right into the podcast. This podcast today, I know if you've seen the topic, your unforgiveness is stopping you. And I wanted to put something else, but I'm just going to leave it like that. Every year, I think I talk about unforgiveness. And I think because it's so much to unpack with unforgiveness with people. And I think people got the wrong definition of forgiveness and unforgiveness and forgiving and forgetting and all that good stuff. So I'm here to break it down and clarify some things and help you to have some healing, first of all, because that's what we're here for. And to heal from some things and some traumas that we all go through, myself included, but also to give you my testimonies and also with everything that I going through, and to say, hey, if I could do it, you can do it too. Meaning that I'm not better than you. We are on the same level. God uses me on this platform for a different reason that he uses you. So with that being said, we go right into it. Some exciting news for me personally. I'm so excited and proud of my son right now. Shout out to my son, Corey Hobbs. Yes, got to say his name. I went to his parenting teacher conference yesterday, and I promise you, every year I go, I am one of those present parents, present mothers. I go every year to my kids' parent teacher conference. I did not get to go to my daughter's last week because of work, and it was just not working with my schedule. And then I think I was so busy last week. It was a lot going on. I was just like, it's not going to work. So I didn't go to my daughter's, which was fine. But my son's, I've been to all his. I go every year. And they couldn't stop but saying good stuff about my son. And it's not that it's just a surprise, but at the same time, as you get older, my son is 17. He'll be 18 at the end of this year. As you get older, you start want to see the transition and the things that you have poured into your child, and you want to see if they really flourishing, and you want to see the growth, and you want to see the progress that you put. Because I'm telling you, I've been doing this thing. Also with the people that I put in his life, the father figures he has had in his life, and mostly his father. I'm so proud to be his mother, and nothing against anybody else, but I did that thing. Okay. I'm so proud to be his mother. Everybody knows that he is my special child. He is I don't like to say favorite because, parents say, I don't have a favorite. I don't have a favorite. We favor one more than the other. We do. That's just the truth. That don't mean he's my favorite. I favor him being my first. So he was in this thing where mama was really, really, like I told people all the time, I really think God sent him to change me. I'm still changing, but and truthfully, this young man now, because I can't even say boy, Lord Jesus, is helping me change right now. He's helping me deal with some things and emotions and mentally. And we talk so much that um the wisdom that he has is at 17 years old, and the things that he knows, and the things that not just I poured into him, but the things that's downloading his spirit from the Lord. I'm glad I put the Lord in his life. My mom, I got that from my mom. My mom put the Lord in my life at an early age. Because my life was not perfect. It was not. My mother wasn't perfect. Mom, she wasn't. But I'm old enough to know that we don't still blame my parents for our mistakes, or we don't blame our parents for their mistakes. We understand that they did the best they could. I'm not a perfect parent. So with that being said, this is not to make anybody else feel bad, but I love that my 17-year-old black young male son is doing such an awesome job academically. He's working his butt off because it's his junior year. So he's working his butt off because he's trying to go to his college tour for spring break. He has a trip to Costa Rica in June. Pray for these planes, because y'all know I'm not gonna send my baby if these planes are not right. And so yeah, so he's doing some big things, and I'm just really proud of him, and just really excited and proud to see where this is going to go in his life. I know God is doing some revealing things with him. My son, I think I want to do a book with him. But with that being said, before I even say that, because I need to bring it to him, I am coming out with another book. Yes, I am coming out with another book finally. I have so many books written in my phone that I supposed to be came out with my third book, guys. I'm so sorry. I supposed to be came out with my third book probably like 2 years ago. And life happened, relationships, marriage, kids, things happen. I just was like, okay, I put it off, put it off, put it off. But this book, I think it's going to be a little different. And this book is pretty much just going to be talking about why things don't work out the way they do in your life, and how you set yourself up for them to ahead of time worked out the way they did, and you had the what they call red flags or green flags. I'm gonna talk about the red flags, the green flags, and why things end the way they do. Most of my books, and all my books, truthfully, because I'm still gonna write books till the day I die, God call me home, are gonna be about healing. Pretty much everything is about healing and why you should change what you're doing, because nobody is exempt from changing. And I tell y'all this all the time: you don't change who you are, you evolve to become better in what you're doing. Okay? Because if you change who you are, you're changing who God wanted you to be and called you to be. So I do not believe in change, I believe in evolving. With that being said, we'll get right into the podcast. So this week, I was a little under the weather. My voice is a little still raspy, but a little bug trying to hit me, and I was just like, ooh. So my voice is not right. Um, I'm like, I gotta detox my body. I was telling my son that yesterday, and I was saying, because I know now, because of how healthy I eat and what I eat, that something happened where whether ate it or something, could have been germ around kids, since I work at schools. Something happened where my body is not fighting off this germ like it usually does. When I could feel it, I do my things that I do at home, my natural stuff, and it's not fighting it off as much as quick as I want it to be. So I'm going to detox my body coming this weekend and next week. I have to get this germ out of me because I'm kind of tired of it. But with that being said, it led me to, I'm looking at all the things I want to write in my book. I'm thinking about all the things I want to talk about. And I always talk about unforgiveness every year, like I said earlier, because we have such a messed up view of what forgiving someone is really about. And I want to talk about why your unforgiveness, what you think you have forgave, is stopping you. Your unforgiveness is stopping you. Okay. So when we say forgiveness, that's something that somebody did an alt. That's something, some action. That is something that someone did to you. You're offended by. It could be an action. It could be emotion. It could be words hurt. It could be anything. But most of the time we think we forgave them, or we say, okay, we cut people off, or we, do whatever we think we are doing. And then we just move on with our lives. Not knowing that your unforgiveness, or that situation that you did not deal with, is actually stopping you from your blessings that God has you. And once my God do not condone unforgiveness, because when you're supposed to have a alt with your brother or sister, which is in the word, you go to them, you talk about it, and you reconcile. Reconciliation does not have to mean the person goes back into your life in the same position, the same way that they were. But reconciliation could also be you forgiving them to the point of fact, okay, I gotta let this go. If thinking about the person, talking about the person, being around the person, whether you around them or not, it bothers you, that's you're not forgiving. You're kind of like, ugh, it irks you, it changes your emotion, it makes you feel in this sense of you don't have peace when the person's name comes up. It's unforgiveness. We do this a lot with, I find, with siblings, a lot. Siblings have the most unforgiveness of stories that I've heard, seen, dealt with in my own family. We do a lot of unforgiveness with our own siblings, and I think it's because our siblings and our parents, I would say, those are the two, because our, those are the people that's closest to us. Then it goes into your spouses, and then external people, friends, and people, other people. For me, I've always been a person that I could forgive so easily. I don't know what it is about why God made me like that. I kind of like it and don't like it at the same time, and I'm gonna tell you why. I like it because after a while, I could be like, I forgave them. Like, why am I still holding on to this? Or I say, not me holding on to, somebody else holding on to it, knowing that somebody knew what happened, knew the action. I'd be like, okay, it happened. And they be like, what? You ain't harping on that, or you like, I don't understand. If I was you, and I literally hate that. If I was you, you're not me. You could never be me. You could never go through what God's sending me through, because your testimony and your tests are not mine. That God's sending me through. But when I talk about that, people will be like, oh my God, I could never, because this happened or that happened and you went through that. Yep, I sure did. But you know one thing? God brought me out on the other side. God gave me a revelation. God gave me, if, let's be truthful, if you really want to forgive, gave me a revelation of I'm a better person. I might even be a better person than they are, and that's just the truth. I might be a person to, not saying I'm better, but I'm talking about in a mindset, a better person in mindset to say that's not where I live at. I mean, if I want to hold, I always looked at unforgiveness once I started really learning about it, and this was my early 20s. If I want to hold something over somebody's head, think about it. They going on with their life. They moving on. It could be a relationship. It could be a marriage. It could be a friendship. They're not thinking about you. Sorry, they're not. And so you holding on bitterness and unforgiveness in your body, which internally, another thing, because I'm a health person, internally unforgiveness does do stuff to your body. If more people knew and looked it up, that unforgiveness holds internal things spiritually and physically in your body, you wouldn't live in unforgiveness. Okay. But that's another time, another podcast for another time. This one I'm talking about, just that's why I think I forgive so easily, because it was more of, okay, they did it. Okay, I can get over it. I think thirdly too, those two reasons. But thirdly, I think I forgive so easily because I be like, you have done stuff. Let's be real. We all have. You have done stuff Reba, that just to hurt people. People have to forgive you. And there's stuff still people probably ain't even forgave me about. That I forgave them about. I, they be like, okay. Or but I think about the people that still have to forgive me. Like I'm not perfect. People have to forgive me. So why can't I forgive somebody else? My number one reason to top all three of those, and y'all know what I'm about to say. Jesus died on the cross for my forgiveness, so I would not. I'm not perfect. Jesus was the only one that was perfect that was walking this earth. So why can't I forgive someone else? When he forgive me every, and I say every single day for all the mess, all the thoughts, all the feelings, all the anger. I told y'all in the past I very was much an angry woman person growing up, like in my early 20s. I still deal with some anger, but not like I used to. Oof, God, it was bad. He forgave me for that. So why I can't forgive somebody else? And then another thing is, I back to what I'm saying. I don't want it to block anything that I got going on. Just think about it like this. I always go off this little saying that tomorrow's not promised to none of us, which I really believe. I could be talking to y'all today on this podcast, and God could take me home in 5 minutes afterwards. God could take me home next week before I even record another podcast, right? But I'm holding unforgiveness towards someone. Something happens to them. Something happens to me. And somebody holding unforgiveness towards me. Or somebody, you know what I'm saying? And you got to answer for that. You got to answer for that. Or say you live your life in unforgiveness. They got many blessings you have blocked that God, like, I don't want to. Why would we think that God wanted to bless an unforgiving heart? And he forgive us every day. Think about that. So there are so many blessings that I wouldn't even want to block that God has set up for me in my whole mindset and in my whole lifestyle. And also, like I was talking about my son earlier, you think I could raise a son the way I'm raising him? It has nothing to do just with education. My son is a great kid, great young man. You think God will bless me if I didn't have, if I had unforgiveness and it wouldn't pour onto them? It'll pour onto my kids. My daughter, she's 7. Unforgiveness shows up in so many different ways that we don't even know it. We think we pushing stuff off years later, and it comes right back and bite us in the face. Okay? And we were like, I thought I forgave them. There could be a trauma. I know I dealt with it in my current marriage. I deal with it. I deal with it in my current marriage. I dealt with it in my last marriage. So much unforgiveness, trauma of parents. And then your spouse, you get married, say I do, and I love you, and all this other stuff, and then that trauma comes up. That comes up in that marriage. Or that trauma comes up with them kids. Yeah. It's gonna come up one way or the other. Because what happens is it's unhealed trauma. What I teach about, it's unhealed trauma that has not been dealt with. So when it's not been dealt with, what you do? You sit there and you be like, okay, I dealt with it. I pushed under the rug. No, you didn't. You made a whole mountain of a molehill. Somebody could have said, and I promise you, if you talk about to people how many people they had really forgave or what the situation was about, 9 times out of 10, if it's years, they really don't remember. They remember parts and pieces. They don't remember exactly what happened. Or they have turned it in their head so much that the story ain't even the truth no more. They turned it in their head so much that they have bits and pieces of what the truth, and 10% of the truth and 90% is things they made up. Well, how many times you have heard yourself or somebody else say, they said this about me, they said that about me, or they felt that they said this to me, or they said that to me. And then when you go talk to that person, or you talk about it through a third party, and the person say, They did not mean that. They just meant in that moment. And you hold on to it like it's something that's so permanent. We all do it. I remember using the story and an example of when I was a little girl. My mom used to call me Eveline. Uh, and I can't even remember the backstory on details, like I just said. But it used to bother me. Like, my name is not Eveline. It's just evil. It's just evil. And that's probably because I was probably angry and it was showing it. When I was growing up, it was slowly growing up. Because I was very quiet when I was a kid until I probably got about like a teenager. And it used to bother me. That don't mean that I was holding unforgiveness for her, but I did at one point in time. Because I was just like, I chose Eveline and I transpired it to my life. I transpired it to when I got older and I'm like, yup, I'm evil, yup, I'm angry, yup. I started claiming those things because my mom, I think at the time she was doing it as a joke, but then when I became very vocal with my hurt, it started becoming permanent. And I was just like, that's it. You get what I'm saying? It just doesn't make sense to me to hold on to stuff that someone could have just not been, and not saying that it was right for that person. I'm not saying that, but that's why it needs to be a discussion. That's why they say it needs to be reconciliation. You cannot hold on to stuff and then think somebody was supposed to hold on. They hold, forget about it, or didn't mean it that way. Sometimes you need to just go clarify what they meant. When I say unforgiveness is holding you back, on your unforgiveness is holding you back from the things that you need, you want, or you expect out of life. How do you expect to have any job, career, anything with unforgiveness in your heart? You make up, put it off, but after you have unforgiveness towards one person, now as I said, if you talk to somebody that has unforgiveness, they could go through a whole timeline who they haven't forgave, truthfully. Who they haven't truthfully forgave. And it's probably like 10 people in their life. No, that's the truth. Unforgiveness holds such a power over you that you don't even know that it's rotting you from the inside out. And I said I wasn't going to get on that, but I'm going to talk on it a little bit. Your unforgiveness is rotting you inside out to the point of fact your unforgiveness is starting to bring low self-esteem in yourself. It started to manipulate, you start to manipulate your own mind to say, I am that person. Or I am that. Or I feel this way about myself. Oh, because I haven't arrived, or because I ain't at this point, and whatever. That comes from unforgiveness. That's why I always, to this point, I have to bring up. That's why I always talk about forgiving yourself. We have to forgive ourselves for the mistakes that we made. When I talk about forgiveness in my classes and stuff like that, I used to do my classes at the church. Forgiveness was one of my first classes, and it was always forgiving yourself first. It's in my book, my first book, Forgiving Yourself First. And the reason why I say that is because if you don't think nothing positive about yourself and you just think negative about yourself, ain't nobody in this world, and I say nobody, could tell you anything different. Everything that you think about yourself is going to be some negative, and then you're going to carry that into your relationships, your friendships, your motherships, your fatherships, whatever ships you got, your job ships, your career ships, because you walk around with unforgiveness of yourself. So now it's like, oh, I'm procrastinating, so I'm lazy. I was telling my friend this a couple of weeks ago. I said, a cheerleader only could cheer so much for someone. And I use this model with my son. If I'm cheering you on and I'm rah-rah-rah you on and I'm rah-rah-rah you on and you don't believe anything I said, a cheerleader eventually get tired. And a cheerleader get tired of cheering. What's going to happen. The cheerleader going to stop cheering. I used to be a cheerleader, so that's why I'm using this analogy. And I always use the analogy with my son. Cheering is tiring. But we do it to try to pep the person up or pep the team up or whatever you want to, whoever you're cheering on, to say, I see something better in you than you see in yourself. Okay, let's get there. But if I'm talking to a dead doorknob, a dead wall, because you have so much unforgiveness in your body that I literally probably didn't have nothing to do with, that person had nothing to do with. Was she or he gonna see me a certain way because I see myself a certain way. You're really talking to yourself and saying that. He gonna see me a certain way. So now I can't believe nothing they saying. They just saying it just to say it. I'm wasting my breath. I also used this analogy with him one day. I remember talking to him, my husband, and I was telling him that if I'm cheering you on and we on the top of the bridge and I'm telling you, you can fly, you can fly, you can fly, you can fly. Come on, birdie, you can fly, your mama. Come on, you can fly, you can fly, you can fly. Flap them wings, flap them wings. And then eventually you start flapping the wings. But you don't believe you could fly? Watch what's going to happen. You're going to fall off that building to the ground. You're not going to fly up. Because it didn't matter what I was saying to you while we was on top of that building saying you can fly, you can fly, you can fly. It matters what you believe when you took that leap of faith to step off the building and say, I can do this. Not my mama told me I could do this. Not my wife told me I could do this. Not my girlfriend, boyfriend, sibling. I can do this. I forgive myself for all the things I've done in the past, mistakes I made, lessons I did not learn. Because honestly, unforgiveness also is lessons that you did not learn. So you keep on repeating them, which is insanity. So you have unforgiveness for yourself because it's something that you did repeatedly, 9 times out of 10, and then you just put it on the next person, put it on the next person, put it on the next person. And sometimes, most of the time, unforgiveness really is a barrier of you. It's what you put down inside of yourself, what you allowed someone to put in you, or you put inside of yourself to believe, and you carried it. So now, someone could say you're the best thing since sliced bread, and you don't believe it. You can get out of a relationship, an abusive relationship, get in the most beautiful relationship. And I apply this as that example because I do this with my husband when me and him was dating, right? I couldn't believe at one point in time that I was worth having him because he was just such an honorable man, a great man, a loving man, not abusive, different from whatever I ever had. So because I didn't forgive myself for things I've done in the past with my ex mates, because that I played parts too. Um, I felt like, oh, I'm just gonna run him off. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. So I couldn't forgive myself for things I've done. So I didn't believe what was in front of me until I had to one day say, "You deserve this. Stop it." I literally had to say that to myself, like, "Stop. You deserve this. You are worth everything that he is." I think I remember having a conversation with my sister about it and crying when we was dating, and then having a conversation with him. And it was more of like a why. And they both like poured into me and stuff like that. But I had to see it in myself. Once they poured into me, they go that cheerleader. I start seeing it in myself. Like they right. I am the bomb. What? I'm a great mother. I am a great woman. I'm a great wife. What you talking about? I make mistakes just like everybody else. I still get angered. I still have my moments. But for the sum total of me, oh, I'm great. I'm great because God called me great. I'm great because I'm learning from my mistakes. I'm great because I'm living life. I'm great because I'm just not existing. I'm living. I'm great because I'm moving and I'm a mover and shaker. I'm great because I have goals that I've accomplished. I'm great because I'm an author. I'm great because you know I'm a great employee. I'm a great employer because I've been a boss. I was like, hold on, I've accomplished so much. I'm great. Not to be cocky, but I had to see myself as other people were seeing me. To see that I was worthy of having him. He made mistakes. Just like I do. But character traits is another thing I'm going to talk about in this book, but later on in another podcast. We confuse character traits with an action, and then we make one action a whole character trait. You can't call somebody abusive if they're not abusing all the time. Okay? If their actions are this is what they do, and they're just doing it. I've been in abusive relationships, so I know. It's a character trait. It's a consistency. And so that's why people, we do with unforgiveness too. We apply one thing and say, yup, I knew they was going to do that. It was going to hurt me. Because love is hurt. I don't care what nobody say. You're going to get hurt if you're in love. Love, period. You love someone. And then we like, yup, I knew they was going to hurt me. Really? Did you? Did you hold on to unforgiveness and not really think about who you are and what you're doing to other people just as well, and just say, you know what, I have to learn, I had to learn, and they had to learn. So let's all learn together and let's just be better. Because if you're going to tell me that you're perfect, that's a lie. You hurt somebody. You hurt somebody that had to forgive you. So always remember to forgive somebody else. With that being said, I'm going to wrap up this podcast. I hope this helped encourage somebody. Please like, share, and subscribe. 5-star, rate it, please. And I hope to see you back next week. And I love you guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you for my new listeners. Thank you for my subscribers. And see you guys back next week. YouTube and Apple Music on platform. Bye.